A very good evening. Welcome to Friday's edition of Prime TV News with me, Iftia Abdul Kader. A look at your headlines first. President says appointment of chairman and board of directors to state institutions should be in accordance to the circular. New committee will look into the restructure of the Sri Lankan Airlines service. Matara Beliata train will run from Sunday. Japanese assistance for the Colombo-Malabar light rail service. New governors have been appointed for 5 provinces. And on news overseas, Nancy Pelosi is elected Speaker of the diverse U.S. House of Representatives. And now for the news in detail. President Maithripala Sirisena has instructed ministry secretaries to comply with the circular issued by the President's Secretary in the appointment of chairman and boards of directors of state-owned enterprises. The President gave these instructions during a discussion held with ministry secretaries at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. A circular signed by the Secretary to the President was issued on the 31st of December 2018, the guidelines that should be adhered to in the appointment of chairman and board of directors to state enterprises, including state corporations and statutory boards. The President had recently appointed a committee to consider qualifications and make recommendations for the appointment of chairman and board of directors of state-owned enterprises. The committee is headed by the Secretary to the President. Its other members are Senior Presidential Advisor W.J.S. Karunaratne, 2 representatives appointed by the Prime Minister, and a representative of the Secretary to the Finance Ministry. The President further pointed out that every secretary to the ministry should pay a visit once in 3 months to all departments and corporations that come under their purview and meet the staff members and look into the operations and make inquiries with respect to any issues. The President said that it is necessary that the appointment of chairman and board of directors of state-owned enterprises comply with the circular issued by the President's Secretary. As such, those already appointed should face the committee to make recommendations after examining their qualifications. It is mandatory that the Minister and the Secretary visit departments and institutions coming under their ministry. The President said that the issue concerning government vehicles is considered by him as a robbery. A common program in this respect should be immediately crafted. Information on government vehicles should be displayed so that anyone can peruse it. Meanwhile, the President also expressed views with regard to the drugs prevention program. The President said that hitherto circulars issued to state enterprises, including state corporations and statutory boards, contain that a drugs prevention unit should be established in all government institutions. He said that new laws and regulations were being prepared while the existing regulations were being amended as the narcotics issue is critical. Therefore, it is important that such a unit be established in every state institution. President Maithripala Sirisena has said that a new committee will be appointed by Monday for the submission of recommendations, soliciting views and proposals needed for the reorganization of the Sri Lankan Airlines. The President made this reference during a discussion at the Presidential Secretariat this morning on the current situation in the Sri Lankan Airlines service. At this discussion, the President said that all parties will receive an opportunity to submit proposals needed for the improvement of the Sri Lankan Airlines service. The committee, which will comprise 5 members after its appointment, is due to submit the required recommendations to the President within 2 weeks. The President said at this discussion that future decisions on the Sri Lankan Airlines service will be taken after considering the recommendations. The president gave instructions to the officials to implement a program for an immediate formal reorganization of the Sri Lankan Airlines. Members of the board of directors pointed out to the president that the required basic initiative has been taken to minimize losses of the Sri Lankan Airlines and transform it into a viable venture. Discussions at this meeting dealt at length on issues that led to the continued losses incurred during the past several years and the current challenges faced, as well as on the present operations. Attention was drawn to the disadvantageous agreements reached by the airlines and the impact on the fuel prices increase, the depreciation of the rupee and currencies in the region, and technical and infrastructure deficiencies. Work is progressing on the Presidential Commission appointed to inquire into the malpractices said to have been committed in the Sri Lankan Airlines. On to a headline-making story. The first train between Matara and Beliata will operate on Sunday. The first train to observe the newly constructed rail track from Beliata to Matara is scheduled to operate the day after tomorrow. These activities will take place under the aegis of Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation, Arjuna Ranatunga. The government's plan to build the proposed rail track from Matara to Kataragama is scheduled to be carried out in 3 stages. Construction of the track from Matara to Beliata is taking place under the first stage. The track from Beliata to Hambantota is taking place under the second stage, and the third stage runs from Hambantota to Kataragama. The total distance is 113 kilometers. The estimated cost of the track from Matara to Beliata is 278.2 million rupees. The China Exim Bank is providing the financial grants. Supervision is being carried out under the guidance of the Central Engineering Bureau. Japan has expressed the consent of granting a loan assistance of $1,850 million for the launch of a light rail service from Colombo Fort to Malabe. Japan is willing to grant financial and technical assistance for the 17-kilometer long rail service from Colombo Fort to Malabe. The Japanese International Cooperation Agency has come forward in this respect. The number of railway stations that will come up under the light rail project to be built from Colombo Fort to Malabe is 16. The cabinet memorandum submitted by the Minister of Finance and Mass Media, Mangala Samaravira, to procure the loan assistance received the nod of the ministers. This loan assistance is slated to be given under 6 stages by the year 2024. $260 million will be received under the first stage. It has been agreed to grant this loan at a concessionary interest of 0.1% per annum. 5 new governors have been appointed. The newly appointed governors took oaths before President Maithripala Sirisena at the Presidential Secretariat today. Accordingly, Azad Sali is the new governor of the Western Province. Maitri Gunaratne took oaths as the new governor of the Central Province. Sarat Ekanayaka took oaths as the new governor of the North Central Province. Peshala Jairatne is the new governor of the Northwestern Province. MLAM Hizbullah has been appointed as the new governor of the Eastern Province. You're watching Prime TV News, and still on the local scene, the declaration of Tripitaka, the sacred scripture of Buddhists, as a national heritage of Sri Lanka will be held tomorrow at the Aluvihara temple in Matale. It will be held under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena. The government has called on the public to hoist the Buddhist flag tomorrow. The national ceremony marking the declaration of the Tripitaka as a national heritage will be held with the participation of 1,500 honorable members of the Mahasangha. The Government Information Department announced that the ceremony will be held under the full state sponsorship. The Sri Lankan Buddhists, led by the members of the Mahasangha, safeguarded the Tripitaka for a period of more than 2,300 years. The secretary to the president has appealed to state institutions and viharas as well as the public to hoist the Buddhist flag tomorrow, the day the noble Tripitaka is to be officially declared as a national heritage. The National Day Against Child Violence is commemorated today. This National Day Against Child Violence is commemorated on the 4th of January every year. It is being held based on aims such as working against child abuse, pursuing the goals of children's rights and building a child-friendly environment. Chairman of the National Child Protection Authority, H.M. Abhiratna, said that all parties should be united to protect the children from all forms of abuses and ensure them a more secure future. Parents are the main persons who can guide the children towards the right path. At the same time, the National Child Protection Authority emphasized that it is also the onus of all elders to assure a secure future for the children who are to take the lead in the world. In other local stories, the lawsuit pertaining to shooting and killing 3 persons and injuring another group during a demonstration that was staged demanding drinking water at Ratupaswala in Valiveria was summoned in the Gampaha Magistrates Court today. An attack was unleashed on the people of Ratupaswala who staged a protest in August 2013. 3 persons were killed in this ordeal while several others sustained injuries. 4 persons, including Brigadier Deshapriya Gunavardhana, have been indicted in relation to this incident. They appeared in the Gampaha Magistrates Court today. The court ordered that the case be summoned again on the April 5th as instructions of the Attorney General had not been received. Mainly fair weather will continue over the island except for a few showers that may occur in the eastern coastal areas. The Department of Meteorology said that fairly cold weather is expected to continue over the island, particularly in the central and northwestern provinces. Fairly strong gusty winds up to 40 kilometers per hour may be expected over the western province and in the Ampara, Puttalam, Kagalla and Hambantota districts. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the central and Sabaragamuwa provinces during the morning. The Department of Meteorology forecasts mainly fair weather over the sea areas around the island. Winds will be northeasterly and the wind speed will be 30 to 40 kilometers per hour in the sea areas around the island. The deep sea areas of the coast extending from Puttalam to Balapitia via Colombo can be rough at times as the wind speed can increase up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour at times. The sea area of the coast extending from Matara to Pottuwil via Hambantota and Puttalam to Kankesanture via Mannar can be fairly rough at times as the wind speed can increase up to 50 kilometers per hour at times. Naval and fishing communities have been called upon to be vigilant. Minister Rajitha Senaratne has said that the number of essential pharmaceutical drugs that have been brought under price control will be increased from 73 to 100. The minister further said that the State Pharmaceuticals Corporation has registered a profit of up to 1,982 million rupees. Minister Rajitha Senaratne was speaking at a function organized with respect to Dr. H.M.M. Rumi assuming duties as the new chairman of the State Pharmaceuticals Corporation. The new executive director of the corporation, Dr. Wilfred Kumarasiri, also assumed duties on the occasion. "72 police officers in charge have been transferred with immediate effect. The police headquarters announced that the transfers have been implemented in accordance with the instructions of the Inspector General of Police and the National Police Commission. Rear Admiral Sarath Weerasekara has said that the Army had discharged a major service on behalf of the people impacted during the flood disaster. He made this reference during a media discussion held by the Global Forum in Colombo. Rear Admiral Sarath Weerasekara said that they saw how during the recent floods in Kilinochchi, the Army assisted the Tamil civilians. If the army did not take prompt action, many lives could have been lost. The army displayed their humanity. They also not only saved many lives and property, but also the animals. Action has been taken to continuously provide the government's fertilizer subsidy to the farmers in the north. Agriculture is the livelihood of a majority of people of the north. The fertilizer subsidy given by the government to the farmer community is also being continuously provided to farmer families in the north. As a result, the farmer community says that this is a great relief to them. 46,000 acres of paddy land in the Vavuniya district has been cultivated during this Maha season. The government has taken initiatives to release the required fertilizer stocks to the agrarian service centers in the area. Your business news is up next. Sri Lanka's unemployment rate contracted to 4.1% during the third quarter of last year, from 4.6% in the second quarter and 4.2% recorded in the corresponding period last year. According to the Department of Census and Statistics, the total number of unemployed individuals was 346,998 during the third quarter of last year. The total economically active population during the quarter under review stood at 8.04 million, of which 4.55 million were working as employees and 225,203 working as employers, with 2.63 million being own account workers and 634,302 contributing as family workers. According to the Department of Census and Statistics, the economically active population stood at 8.38 million during the third quarter of last year, of which 64.7% were males and 35.3% were females. For more information, visit www.itnews.lk. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.